You don't know how lucky I feel to be talking to you. I feel so privileged.
What are you saying?
Why?
No, I'm too small a guy to even think privilege and all that.
Why?
No, don't attach too much importance to anyone, really.
No, you're a musician.
You have to be significant yourself.
As I was saying, and you were not allowing me to say, but I'm very honoured to be with you.
Thank you very
I've
much.
just seen your set.
Thank you.
I'm just going to move over here so you're slightly looking at the camera.
Sure.
And the thing, apart from the fact that I heard your opening notes and I came charging down to hear you, the other thing that really captivated me was what you said about the first song.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God. So can you remember what you said?
Yeah, that song is it's kind of a prayer to the powers above to give us a second chance.
Yeah.
And there are many interpretations to the same song, and one of the interpretation is that we all make mistakes, and we all probably are leading lives which we are kind of covering up and trying to hide behind a facade and trying to say what we don't really mean to say, or probably we are making mistakes every day that we don't want to make really.
Yeah.
But we do nevertheless.
Yeah.
But it's never too late to wake up one day and say, I don't want to live that life anymore, and let me lead a life more positive, more fulfilling, more satisfying, more truthful. And I think we all deserve that second chance, no matter how evil we have been, and no matter how horrible our mistakes are. I think this life is way too beautiful to be led in a negative way. So it could be just one day, and it's all up to you to make that decision. It's not really anyone else giving you that second chance but yourself. But I think powers above will help you and get that strength to take that decision and lead at least the rest of the life in a better way. It's actually having a second chance. So that's one interpretation. The other one is when you get a second chance, you probably will finally be able to do what your heart really wants to do. And I think that's a much better interpretation to the same song, And it was the first song that we released when we released our album in 2006 in India. So yeah, since then that song has been quite popular back home in India, and it's catching up here to now. Yeah, Hey Bhagwan.
And is that the second interpretation? Is that how it is for you?
Well, in fact, it was not really my interpretation. It was the first one, which I thought was the more apt interpretation, and I stuck to it for many years. And it was my bassist, Gaurav, who came up with the second interpretation recently. In fact, last month when we were playing for TED Global Conference, and it was all about. We were in a session which was labeled Crossroads, Radical Crossroads, and I thought it was a very, very wonderful interpretation of standing at crossroads, getting these choices that we get in life, and getting that second chance to make the same choice again, or probably a different choice at the same juncture of your life. I think that's very interesting for me. Yeah. So for me, I think that's more interesting, where you probably can rewind back to a position where you made a choice which you don't like anymore, but now you have another chance to make a better choice at the same point of your life, and you could change the way your life can be then in the future at least. So I think that's pretty interesting, more probably deep and
it's profound,
intriguing.
Yeah. Because I was talking to your violinist earlier, and we were talking about the sounds that you guys make. And it seems to me that you've got these great instruments on stage, and you're all making music, but all the instruments have their own voice.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's a kind of freedom. Yeah.
Yes.
Because they all have their own voice, and yet they all harmonise
together. Yes.
With you too.
Yeah.
Which is also amazing.
Correct.
And to do that, you have to have an incredible amount of freedom.
That's also well, the real reason is that I'm a very limited musician. So I don't really have knowledge to say play this to the flute player, or play that for the violinist, or say bassist, now this is the hook you're going to play with the drums, whatever groove he's giving you. So what happens initially is I come up with the vocal melody and the guitar chords initially, and then it's with my guitarist that I sit and analyze if the chords are perfect or it can be improved upon, and the guitarist comes in with his improvement on the song, and it's much later that I sit with the flute player alone and maybe the violinist alone, and then let them unleash their solos on it or hooks on it, whatever it is. It's only after everyone's done their parts I sit down and go back home with all the recordings of the jams, sit down and cut and paste and say, this is how. That is my strength, is to make a catchy song and then also see the bigger picture when it all comes together. I think that's the only strength I have. I do not have strength to individually say, this is how I'm going to write music for the violin. This is how because I never learned music formally. I don't know how to write notes or read notes. I completely go by ear. So I can only say if this is sounding right, this is not sounding right.
So, is it fair to say then that what you have is the band has a philosophy then?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the philosophy. So what we're hearing is the really clear philosophy, and everyone's playing the philosophy.
Well, you could say that, but even more interesting is the fact that my band lineup is never constant. Every time you see, the band keeps changing. It's only the bassist and the drummer who have been constant. The violinist joined us on this tour, in fact. Just he's like 15 concerts old. A flute player joined me last October, and the guitarist joined me last November. And basically what happens is that whenever it's a fluid arrangement for musicians to walk in and walk out of. It's my project, but anybody's welcome to walk in and walk out anytime. No emotional attachment, no hurt after breaking up and stuff like that, you know? So it's more like a collaborative approach towards each musician, and I handpick them. Probably I would have seen them on stage with another band, or they would have seen me somewhere else and express their wish to play with me. So it's more of that, and I almost always, by gut feeling, go for the best people rather than the best musicians. And I think that works the best way for me, because music is a skill and eventually it can be worked out. Like when I met Gaurav, my bassist, I think he was very limited as a bassist. He would play probably with 2 fingers, I think, if I'm not wrong. If Gaurav is watching this, don't kill me for this. But he's come such a long way since then, and he became my manager in India. In fact, he quit his job in a software company and joined me full time, and I said, then you be my manager, because he's very great with coordinating and he has this great smile which charms everyone.
He's very funny.
And he's funny, yes. So you know what I mean. So it's about people coming together rather than musicians coming together and becoming great friends. And that camaraderie gets translated when we go on stage. Everyone's smiling and laughing. And we do fight, yes. We do fight, we do have our disagreements and stuff like that, but we are friends, and then we know exactly how to resolve an issue if there is one, and then there's no heartburn whatsoever. So I guess it works out eventually, and the idea is to keep the music very simple, not really to show I can play this chord, I can play that chord, I can sing like that and come back again to this note, or I can play this beat and this many counts and show mathematics in music, etc., etc. The idea is to have very simple 3 or 4 chords based song, which people can remember the melody or the philosophy or the message behind the song at the end of the day. Because I'm singing in my mother tongue and India's national language, so there's no way I can expect them to remember the words tomorrow, but I hope they get the message back home, take the message back home and remember it the next day. I think that's what I'm looking at, and that works. Thankfully it's been working so far.
My favourite songs of the set were the second song, which was just so good, and then the I think it might have been the penultimate song, the song that came from a movie.
Mahadeshwara.
Oh my god.
Very Latino influenced song.
It was absolutely, and your set was so diverse. Diverse.
You should say that. I will not say anything to it.
No, you can't. I suppose you can't. No, it's true. But
if you say diverse, I'll say yes. If you say it was monotonous, I'll say still yes.
Oh, no. And you know that guy who wrote to you about that?
Yes.
Did he? I missed it. Did he actually proposed to her.
Yeah, he
What, there?
Yes, that's what the whole plan was.
I thought it was just that you played it for him.
No.
Oh my God.
He wanted to propose to her while we played that song because it is their favorite song together of mine, and he thought it was the best song to play when he's proposing to his girlfriend.
Up his chances.
Yes, up his chances, literally. But he's planned it so meticulously, you know. He went to her dad a few days before saying, this is what I'm going to do. Is it okay to do that? And I'm going to propose to your daughter. Took his permission. And then, yeah, that's how it happened. And in fact, we have another one going on at Womat. Yeah, we have. It's amazing how that song has now connected so many couples together. There are a few people who probably met at my concert and married later and then sent an email saying, you were the reason why we got married. Such a huge responsibility. But it's great that you know, I never imagined that my music would reach so far and would connect so deep with people that it could change their lives. It's just too scary sometimes. It is.
I suppose. Never mind.
Yeah.
Because on that, you know, that same song.
Yeah.
Next to me.
Yeah.
There was a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like slow dancing to the song.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really heart-wrenching. Yeah.
Oh.
It was. Yeah.
Wow.
It was. Yeah. It was.
That's another thing that I never get to see the actual reactions of the people up close, you know, because most of the time I'm closing my eyes and singing because I become one with myself when I sing, and I find it weird that I get distracted as soon as I open my eyes and catch something in the crowd. So I try as much as possible to close my eyes and sing, and it's natural for me to close my eyes and sing actually. But it's great to see that people get connected through music, and I consider myself truly blessed to be the one to connect people when I go on stage and perform.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.